ojmerge.
What's up, merge fam?
There, you know, going easy back again. We are saying it's another vlog again, you know.
Yeah.
And we are saying today, our anniversary, 1 year of marriage successfully. Been together for 3 years. What, 3 years now? Almost 3 years.
January would make 3 years.
Yeah. Almost 3 years, 1 year of successful marriage.
Yes.
The Jamaican and the American. It's possible. Beautiful ride. You know that go already. Nothing in life is flawless, but you know it go.
Yes. And forgive me guys, I just lost my voice today. So hopefully you can get through this video with us without being too bothered by that. But yeah, so we just want to talk about some things that we've learned in our first year of marriage. And maybe it will help someone out there that's thinking about getting married, or that is, you know, going through marriage and trying to figure things out. And then maybe some people can relate, because maybe some of you guys out there have been married for a year or more and can actually relate to some of the things that we learned in our first year of marriage.
I want to know why your voice gone. Why your voice gone?
I don't think they care about that. I don't know why my voice is gone.
Going to a Sean Paul concert.
It was gone before that, but that didn't help.
That didn't help.
That did not help.
I went to a nice Sean Paul concert. Went to did some things. You know, I always spend the evening. It was pretty dope. But alright, you say you want to get into some things?
Yes. Number one of the things that I learned in my first year of marriage is that every argument is not the end of the world. It's easy to think when you argue with somebody, you know, it has to be a big blowout, or it has to linger and fester. But what I learned with marriage is that if you're committed to your marriage, I'm still gonna be here, you still gonna be here. So we might as well make it easy on one another and make this disagreement as short and sweet as we possibly can. Like, you know, going a day or two in silence is just completely unnecessary when you can just nip it in the bud in an hour or less, or 5 minutes. I say my piece, you say your piece, I be mad, you be mad, and then we shake it off and we make up, because ultimately that's what we're gonna end up having to do anyway. So we might as well save time.
Yeah, not because, you know, two people come to a disagreement meaning they're enemies, or you should take it a certain type of way. A disagreement is a must. People got different minds, we think different, and sometimes it's to get to that crossroad where, you know, both minds can merge. Or you can see where your partner is coming from, or she can see where you're coming from. And sometimes you might not see where both of y'all are coming from. But at the same time, sometimes y'all gotta, you know, agree to disagree, and it's just one of them things. And I always understand that, not because there's a disagreement that means there has to be confrontation. It doesn't have to be confrontation between both of y'all because y'all disagree. Disagreements comes. They will come. You will disagree with your mom, you will disagree with your spouse, you will disagree with your kids, you will disagree with your friends, you will disagree a lot in life. So a disagreement is not a bad thing. It just means that both of y'all, you know, got different brains and thinking differently, and, you know, should find some way to merge.
Which brings me to the second thing that I learned in marriage in my first year, is that you and your spouse will have different perspectives on things. Y'all will sometimes see the world differently, and that's okay. That's not a bad thing. Because prior to getting married, I thought that if somebody doesn't see something the way you see it, then that's a recipe for conflict and turbulence. But really, when God pairs you with your spouse, He knows what He's doing. And the fact that you two have different perspectives is actually designed to work in your favor. It's easy to think that your way of seeing something is the only way or the right way, but there's more than one right way. And that's why the world is so complex and so broad, and that's what keeps us all growing and evolving, is because we're all so different and we see things differently. Now, I do believe that you and your spouse should be able to come together with differences in opinion, both respecting each other's differences, and sometimes you just have to agree to disagree. But in a nutshell, I learned that it's okay to agree to disagree. It's not the end of the world if we see something differently, as long as we respect each other's opinions and we can move forward in the way that still serves the marriage.
When you have two different perspectives, always remember that the end goal is the same. The end goal is the same. It might be, you might bring them to the table two different ways, or they might come in from two different places, but the end goal is the same. So always remember that too, dealing with either different culture, different race, or just life in general. Or if you are from the same culture, it's the same thing. Never overlook what the other person is saying, doing, or bringing to the table, and vice versa. And just know that y'all have one main goal, find the best way to execute. That's that on that one. Mm-hmm. Number 3, the next thing that I've learned in this is compromise. Sometimes you will have to compromise when it comes down to certain things, because you're in a relationship and it's two people. Not because you want something, you must let that want, drive certain things to cause conflict. Sometimes you gotta compromise. If your partner doesn't see that way or doesn't want that majority of the time, sometimes you gotta compromise and say, you know what, maybe that's just me. Maybe I could compromise and say, you know what, if that's something that I want and she don't want, let me really check if it's that important, or have something that I really need or want. Because majority of the time, some things that you want, you can do without. It's not, as long as you don't need it. Need is big. Want, you can do without. So sometimes you gotta compromise with the things that you want to make things, a little bit easier, and just to show your partner that you care.
Yeah, and somebody once said that compromise is when neither party gets exactly what they want, and I think that
Facts.
is what compromise should be. It's not one person coming all the way over here to suit the other person, or you coming all the way over here to suit the other person, but it's two people meeting in the middle, which means neither party got exactly what they wanted, but you're able to come to an agreement. So yeah, compromise is definitely big, and you definitely learn that in your first year of marriage, and I would guess it takes you throughout the rest of your marriage.
But number 4 is, which I kind of knew this one from day one, and I always use it to move forward. Talk to God about it. He'll fix all things. Sometimes you want to get mad, you want to get angry, certain things happen that, give it time. Sometimes silence is best, and pray about it.
Yeah. And, we realize that everybody out there is not a believer. You have some people who have a different way of exercising their faith and their spirituality. And whatever way you exercise your spirituality, it's just important to put that at the top of your marriage, because it's not really designed for you to do it by yourself. So prayer has been a really great lifeline in the first year of marriage. God will take care of it, or God will tell you, you need to go talk to your spouse about this. So I would say that applies to us. We won't say it applies to everybody, but for us in our first year of marriage, it's definitely been golden.
The 5th one I would say is, a marriage is a ever evolving situation. It's always new things about it. It's always things to learn about it. It's always growing. You will have great times in your marriage. You will learn things in your marriage that you never know before, and every day you will learn. It's a learning experience, and day by day you might see something that might shock you, but I never know that about her. Oh, I never know that about him. But a marriage is a growing experience, and it's always evolving, and you always learning. And I think you will do that until both of y'all are not unhurt anymore. No matter how old you get, you will still be learning a marriage. So never think you just walk in a marriage and you're supposed to see,
and it's gonna stay like that.
Exactly, you're supposed to see 100% of this is what my marriage has to offer. No, because things change both of y'all while y'all grow, while y'all learn, while y'all execute.
Yeah, so first of all, never stop growing, and never assume that your partner has stopped growing. That's a big mistake, to just assume that this person that I see today is always gonna fit this prototype and never, human beings are very fluid, and we evolve and we grow, and we change on chemical and hormonal levels, so never make the mistake of assuming that your partner is not growing and changing. But instead be adaptable to that and be willing to grow and change as well.
Facts.
Number 6, and this may only apply to me, but I met a lady once, and she told me that in your first 6 months of marriage, you need to communicate the things that you don't like and the things that you do like. You need to kind of set the tone in the first 6 months of marriage, because the things that you establish in those first 6 months are the things that will pretty much continue throughout your marriage. Of course, we've only been married a year, so I will have to update you guys on if this philosophy is true or not, but that's just a piece of wisdom that somebody gave me. So and I got that around my 3rd month of marriage. So it told me, okay, if there are certain things that I would like to see more of in my marriage or less of, let me make sure that I'm communicating that to my husband, so that we can set the tone for the rest of how this is going to go. So maybe you don't like that your husband never, ever, ever helps out around the house. This is just an example. Well, between now and your 6th month of marriage, you need to turn that around, because past that 6 months, y'all have already gotten into a pattern, and that could very well be the next 70 years. I don't know, but that's more or less a theory. But I thought that was interesting. Number 7, I learned in my first year of marriage that marriage is very beautiful, it's very sacred, and it is a very unique experience to have somebody that is your best friend, your protector, your gatekeeper, your secret holder. You wake up with this person, you go to sleep with this person, you see this person's trials and their struggles, they see yours. You guys come to know each other's strengths and weaknesses. That's very sacred, because not too many people get to see you or know you in the way that your spouse will. I mean, definitely not your parents, and probably not even your closest friend. Marriage is something where you will, whether you like it or not, be vulnerable and transparent at some point, where a person really gets to see your bare bones and you don't have anything to hide behind. And so I think that that's a really beautiful phenomenon.
Most definitely. Most definitely. 8. Okay. 8. I've heard that the first year of marriage, they say that's the most difficult. Why they say it's the hardest year is because all the things that you guys have to merge into, all the things that you guys will have to adjust, as Jay just said, from the finance to buying a home, to doing certain things, making certain business move, jobs, whatever it is, career paths, all of that changeover, moving in together, all of that. It's,
Did you say family planning?
Family planning. That's That's a big one. Family planning. So all of that taken into consideration is a lot during the first year of marriage. Now, if you execute with conversation between each other, ask the questions that you need to ask, do things together, use the information that you get to execute things the right way. Make sure that both of you are on board. Make sure that the decisions that are made by both of y'all, and it's not one-sided that one person feel like, oh, I didn't want that and you wanted that, and then it could be beautiful. But each decisions that you make within the first year of your marriage, make sure that it's a joint effort. Make sure that both of y'all wanted that. Make sure that you agree on some, at least fairly decent terms, that you don't feel no way about that moving forward into the second year where things is cool. Because in the second year, all of those decisions are made, things is set up, things is in place to execute, and both of you are on the same page.
Number 9. This is not really something that I learned in the first year of marriage, but marriage helped me to see the importance of what I already knew, which is, keep your business to a certain level. I mean, we share with you guys, but you don't have to run and tell your mama or your best friend or your cousin, every little detail about your marriage, because your marriage is sacred. And at the end of the day, when you go sharing every little detail, you're not realizing in your moments of emotion or whatever it may be that your marriage ain't sacred to nobody else but you. So if you say something to the wrong person, or even the right person, but they end up having a wrong day, and it could come back and bite you. We haven't had that happen to us because we're pretty low-key people. We're really good at handling our stuff under our roof. But I'm putting this out there for anybody out there that kind of has loose lips or find themselves being really emotional in the moment. Think about that. Think twice about running to talk down on your spouse when you're upset, or to even not talking down, just seek advice elsewhere, because it can be taken wrong. And ultimately, once you and your spouse pick up the pieces and move forward, or forgive and forget, you still have things lingering now because you've taken information outside of the home. So that's something to be mindful of, ladies and gentlemen, if you are married, and not just married, but in a relationship period.
And to piggyback off of that, a marriage is sacred between the two people that took the vows. It is sacred between the two people that took the vows and should be kept that way. A lot of people attend a wedding, but only 2 people go on the honeymoon. That says a lot. You can't take everybody with you in your business. You can't take everybody with you in your marriage. Some people just gotta leave. You don't take everybody on your honeymoon. Why should you tell everybody, about the things that happen in your marriage? Y'all have conversations. Y'all tackle that on your own. Some things you can share. And, share things for the right reasons. If you're going to share certain things, make it, share them for the right reasons. Share them for motivation. Share them for, somebody else to hear them and say, okay, those are pointers and I need to move from that perspective. Because people are malicious. A marriage is envied. A marriage is, wanted. A marriage is looked on from all different perspectives. And a marriage is a beautiful thing. A lot of people, second guess it because of what it is. But a marriage is a beautiful thing between 2 people, and that joint union is a beautiful thing. Keep people out of it. Because majority of the time, the people that comes to you with advices and the people that wants to know what it is are the single folks that's not into that situation. And majority of the time, they're going to give you advice and they've never been married before. They've never been in the situation that you've been in. So majority of the time, make them decisions and keep certain things to yourself. And
you'd be surprised at the people that you think are happy for you or the people that you think are cheering for you, but secretly they're not, you know. Secretly they're not. So, and you don't have a way of knowing that, but the best way to approach it is just to be safe than sorry.
Good. My grandmother used to tell me, say, it's not everything that you right and do, your left hand must know. And I leave it right there. 10 and final, love each other equally. Keep love in the middle. Always love your partner. The moment you fall out of love or the moment you feel like love is strained, tell your partner, sit down and have that conversation. Voice your concerns. Voice your opinions. Voice your feeling. Don't sit down and let certain things, you know, overtake you and then you make a crazy decision that you don't want to make. Always voice your opinion on how you're feeling about your marriage. Always make sure that, you know, you let your partner know you're feeling. And if it's great, cool. But the moment you start having different feelings, at the moment you start venturing out of that, at the moment you feel like you're separating or you feel like you're distant in yourself or you feel like the communication has dropped or whatever it is,
nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
Because it's best to know and it's best to let your partner know.
Yeah. And that kind of takes me to another point, but I don't want to go to 11, so we probably will make this 10A. And it kind of piggybacks off of what you said. When you have an issue, bring it up. No matter how small you think it is, no matter how minuscule you think it is, or if you think you already said it, or you think you said it one too many times, just bring it up. You know, you may not like it if your partner does it. Your partner might not like it if you do it. But it's better to bring these things up,
definitely,
than to let them sit and fester. Because what happens is when you don't talk about things, you keep them inside, they build up, they fester, then that's when you get something called resentment. That's when you get something called a breach in communication. You don't want that, because that's enough to ruin a relationship.
Tenfold.
So you absolutely have to, the moment you feel bothered by something, by the slightest thing, talk about it.
Talk about it.
If y'all have to have a disagreement, y'all just gotta have a disagreement.
And sometimes you talk about them things, it might not be fixed right away, but at least guess what happened? Your partner know that you're good. And your partner know that that's a concern, that's what it is. No, he knows. No, she knows. No, you know, at least as Jay said, you planted a seed and that seed will grow and bear fruits and whatever it is, and you know, they'll be alright.
Yeah. Don't expect a mind reader though.
Yeah.
So guys, those are the 10 things that we learned in our 12 months of marriage.
And some might have already knew, but at the same time,
they were reinforced.
They were, yeah, most definitely. Yeah. They were reinforced again, and yeah, it's just one of them things. As I say again, we up all day today. We did a lot of things. We made a lot of moves today, so you know it is.
Yeah.
You know.
But let us know in the comments, like, what you've learned in your marriage.
And if you're married, let me know the challenges that you have faced and some of the things that you went through.
And maybe how you overcame them.
Maybe how you overcame them, or if you didn't overcome them. What caused you to separate? What caused you to be together? Let me know some of the things that keep you together. Maybe we can implement that. Let me know some of the things that has the potential to pull you apart. Maybe we could stay away from that. So,
yeah, we would love to hear from the married veterans who are years in. You know, we're still newbies.
And not to cut you off, baby, but not only from the married people. I want to hear from single people too.
Single people.
What would you want in a marriage?
People in long-term relationships.
Good. People in their regular relationship. Single person. Let me know what you would want from a marriage. Let me know what you wouldn't want from a marriage. Your fear of marriage. You know,
It's a lot of that.
it's a lot of people that fears marriage. You know, all of that. Shoot something in there. As I said again, it's your anniversary. Bless up. Take it easy. ojmerge. Boom.
Are you me lover, you me want to be my only cheek. Girl, give me your finger, me have to put a ring on it. Night nurse, me addicted to your nightly trick. Never get a loving like this, like this.